welcome to Golden Table Games with your host, Nathan
and John.
Welcome back to Golden Table Games, everybody. I'm here with John.
And I'm here with Nathan.
And I'm also here with our guest star, Aaron.
Hi. It's about time I got recognized. Jeez, you guys.
You're awful, John. All right, and on today's episode of Golden Table Games, we're going to talk about some deck building.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to start with deck building, and since you need the most help, Aaron,
which is very obvious,
we're going to do another reverse interview. You're going to talk to us about it, ask whatever questions you have, and me and John are going to give the best answer.
Okay. So to start off, what is the best color?
That's all on preference on how you want to play.
That's all on preference and what you're going for.
Okay.
Normally when you build, you start by picking either a concept or a card to build around. So I have a lot of concept decks. Like the very first epic deck that I built was a rat deck.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So my rat deck, I built it of the concept of rats. I need rats. And then I realized, well, rats are on the ground and flying is evil. Flying into rats. Hey, it all works now.
Yay. All right, John, what was your first major epic deck?
The most concept one would have to be my defender, because I wanted to put a stop to slow things down. While my partner, because it was going to be a two-headed giant game, was able to dish out all the high cards.
That was all.
So my job was to slow down, while his job was to get the big cards, and then it
Big,
just
high
winded
damage,
up
quick.
being the ultimate slowdown deck.
And that deck is really nice to play against for testing decks and things like that.
Yeah.
But deck building, I don't really base on color right away.
Oh.
I base on cards and concepts when I build a deck.
Yeah, what I do is go through my heavy hitting cards and see what I like in there. And if I like 3 colors or whatever, I go into my dual colors and see which ones fit the best. And then I work down my way to a single color.
One of my best decks that I built, I traded for Broodmaster Dragon, I think. It's a 3-color dragon that spawns dragon tokens.
Wow. All right.
And I traded for it, and I'm like, this is what Ziggy was wondering about when we were asking where we get cards that make dragon tokens, because he kept pulling these dragon tokens, and he didn't know what to do with it. And then I turned around and built a really, really good tricolor deck around it. It's pretty much a starter deck. It's what it is around that one card.
All right. So what about what was your best combo that you've ever had? Like, what was the best deck combo that you've ever created? I know that's kind of a hard. Yeah. Oh.
You're asking that of two people who build so many decks.
My favorite would have to be my infinite turn combo. 2 cards that get all the turns. You never get a turn again, so you automatically lose.
Wow.
I like that one, but I'm going to say I like my infinite creature. I like the ability to spawn as many creatures as I want.
All right. Okay. So trying from yeah. I know one of your major complaints with Brian was that he built too top heavy. Like, how do you get? I kind of know the concept of how to get top heavy, being you always build a lot of high mana cost creatures. But what if you want to go the opposite direction? Too many low drops. Is that a problem or not?
There's really no such thing as too many low drops. Rats are all 3 to 2 to 1 drop. You really don't get anything else with rats. It's very hard to build a deck with too many low drops. Those low drops end up being what's called cannon fodder, or they're in the way. They're there to be annoying, so that way you don't have to deal with it, so you can start building on bigger creatures. So I had a rat that built on other rats on the field. Well, then I added a high drop, Ogre Slumlord. That gave all my rats death touch every time a creature dies. Doesn't matter on which side, I get a rat creature token. That now has death touch. As long as it's non-token.
Yeah.
Most people will go off of like the pyramid. Your 1 drops are going to be the highest amount. Your 2 is going to be a little less, and it's going to work your way up to like the 11 drop card. You only have 1 in there.
Yeah.
You don't want too many high drops, but that high drop is usually going to be your like game-winning card.
Yeah.
And see, I don't really follow that pyramid. I kind of put stuff in and then test and see if it works. My decks are test, adjust, test, adjust. That's how I like to do my decks. Because the more adjustments and stuff I can make, then I know I'm actually putting effort into my decks.
If you want to build decks that have all high drops, you need a way to lower the cost or get mana ramps, which are cards that give you more mana.
Yeah.
Brian's Dragon deck. He had a bunch of cards that gave him a lower cost for his dragons, but he wasn't using them right. When he used them, he was using them as cannon fodder.
Okay.
And he was using them last minute when he wants to use them right away. That's why his dragon deck suddenly became slow before he left. It's because he stopped using his cards right. I can guarantee that.
All right. Now, for kind of like deck building, for your range of like, I have this like concept that I've kind of been thinking about. Like, there's the concept of where you want to put like how you rank your cards. Like, I know like low drops, you generally want them in like your first hand or with like 3 mana or something. But what if you get like one of your high drops or something like that? Can you still work around it on your first hand, or are you just gonna mulligan?
Well, that kind of depends on which deck I'm running. If I'm running like my sliver deck or my artifact deck and I get some of my high drops, as long as I have, so for my artifact deck, as long as I have 1 or 2 of my low drops, I'll do it. But if I don't have any low drops in a deck and it's all high drops and I only have 3 mana, it's not worth my time. If I'm not getting creatures out, I'm not having those defenders. And I don't build decks like people build modern decks that relies on only spells. I can't do that. That is not my thing. My thing is having as many creatures as possible and overrun. Go straight over the top.
When it comes to me, it depends on because I know my decks. If I have one of the highest drop cards in my hand and I'm only having 2 mana, it doesn't. But the other cards I can't lay right away, you might as well mulligan. But if you have turn 1s, 2s, and 3s in your hand right away, you might as well hold on to it because you're going to wind up getting to it. It ain't going to hurt.
And me and John kind of have a general rule, and we've played this rule since we first started. If we don't have 3 mana in our hand, it's not worth it. Because it takes 3 mana to play your lowest drop cards.
Well, ours, you can't have 1 drops, and there's even 0 drop creatures out there.
Oh, yeah. And we have a couple, but it takes at least 3 mana, 3 turns to make sure that we have enough low drops so that way we can compensate for our high drop.
Yeah, like I know like one of those 0 drops was what was it? It was like black something lotus that goes for like $3,000 or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, crazy.
And it's banned in all tournament sets now.
Yep.
So it's one of those.
Even EDH, and EDH allows everything.
Except the card that you tear and toss.
Well,
and-
that's a set. It doesn't allow that set. That's just a general thing.
Yeah. Okay. Your goblin deck. How does that one work? Aside from spawning goblins.
All right. So my goblin deck is a burn control goblin spawner. So what that means is I have a bunch of spells and I keep using them to either burn up your deck with just quick damage spells to get rid of your creatures, quick damage spells to start getting rid of your health, and then by the time I start spawning my goblins and pumping up my Hammelback, it's too late. I've run through most of your deck. I've probably run through most of my deck, so I'm getting everything that I want. And then on top of that, to prevent me getting flown over, I have dragons. So now I have a bunch of dragons on top of my goblins that are already ridiculous. And my Hammelback, which is already ridiculous.
All right. John, let's talk about your artifact deck. How does that one work?
My artifact deck's purpose is to slow you down, kind of like the defender,
Yeah.
but also irritate you in a way that makes you think about how you're running your own deck. Like that's all I enjoy having fun, and if it's annoying you a little and making you rethink concepts of your own deck, then I feel like I'm doing my own job. And it has several ways to win, so it's not like it's just there to annoy the hell out of people.
Now, if we flash back for a second to me, I have an artifact deck too, and mine runs completely different. So my goal is to get these two cards that I have, all under the same name. They're called Prototype Portal. Prototype Portal allows you to exile an artifact, which it is, and then you can pay the same amount of mana to make an exact token copy. I need two more, and that deck is complete, because then I can prototype portal, prototype portal, will prototype portaling a prototype portal, will prototype portaling a prototype portal, a prototype portal. AKA, I now have infinite prototype portals, and I can exile my entire deck and start making complete token copies of the entire thing.
Yeah, his is aggressive. Mine is
What?
I can exile my entire deck and make infinite tokens of all of it.
Sorry, my brain decided to not work right there. So you literally toss out your entire deck.
one
and-
card at a time.
One card,
One
at
card
a
at a time, literally. Okay.
Well, every
Well,
time
like
I prototype
three.
portal a prototype portal, I start being able to do more. So I get to the point where I can do 3 at a time.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 4.
Out of your hand.
8,
This is out of your hand though. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't have a way to keep drawing,
Uh,
or he
take it
plays
there-
with our house rules, which
Yeah.
we'll get to later.
Actually,
So what the main point of that is I have a card that says if I have 20 or more artifacts on my side of the field, I win the game.
yeah.
Doesn't matter how many people I'm playing against, I win the game. So by exiling all of that, I start winning. I also have life gain. Every time an artifact comes onto the field, I gain that much life. Well, I can prototype portal the life gains. So now I have infinite life. I have infinite creature spawn. I have infinite platinum angel. I have infinite dark steel forge. And then if I really wanted to be a dick, I could infinite world slayer.
Oh my god.
And world slayer lets me go attach this to a creature, swing with creature, you lose everything on your side of the field. I lose my mana. Ooh, look at all the creatures I have. On top of that, I have artifact banners that count for 3 different colors of mana. So I can start cloning that, and now I have infinite mana coming up too, of every color.
Jeez.
So my deck has those cards too, but I don't use them the same way he does. I use them so I can have copies of certain cards that I need, and if needed, I can get the unlimited mana or the unlimited health.
Yeah.
But mine isn't to get that one card out and win the game. I build
And
decks to
where-
slow things down and make you think.
My deck goes really quick, and I've run over his deck because he can't stop how fast it is. And then on top of that, I start doing my prototype portal shenanigans. It's very hard to keep up when I start doing shenanigans.
Well,
Insanely hard to keep up.
well, your shenanigans are cheeky and fun. His are not.
His are still cheeky and fun. You put both of us with our artifact decks on opposite sides and make 2 other random strangers come up and start playing with us. It's funny watching their face go from, yay, I have a chance to,
What?
what is going on?
No, I do plays that confuse Nathan at times. Like I'll discard
Yeah, but-
cards that are like my game-winning cards, and I'll just toss them in the graveyard and carry on like nothing's going
And
on.
see, he does that on purpose because he knows that's going to mess with my head a little bit and change my strategy.
And I can always get them back out, so it's actually slightly safer for them to be in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So other decks that we've been really good with. We built 2 different kinds of mill decks, me and him. Now, my build deck actually took out not only his defender deck, but my artifact deck.
Wow.
Yeah, it took out both. One go.
Dear Lord.
We had Chris, my cousin Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Playing my artifact deck. Him playing the defender. Like, I want to test this. Pull out your strongest decks. And I milled them out. And then I went into a 3-hour stalemate with John.
Neither of us would give up.
Remember how we said we don't like to lose? We don't like to lose.
I had absolutely no way to win, and he just kept getting life. So there was
no way I could lose. I kept getting deck. He had no deck to try and retort to me. The only thing saving him was his Platinum Angel, and he refused to swing with it. And it's not like I could make him swing, because I had a creature that would have ran right over the top, and I would have won. That's the only thing that I would have needed to win, is something that would force him to attack with that creature. Now, I don't mean to poke fun.
That's okay.
But we're going to reverse this, and we're going to talk about your first deck now.
Oh,
And
God. Oh, God.
So, your first deck started off as a blue-black scry. We talked about this.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
And you took a look at my blue-black scry, or my blue-black, just a couple minutes ago. And you're
Yeah.
like, so this is what you're basing my new deck off of. Well, I'm basing it off of that, but I'm also basing it off of John's pure blue.
Oh, yeah.
He does have a pure blue, but that's kind of a joke deck.
Ah.
Yeah, it
Because-
only works with our house rules.
The
Oh,
old house
yeah.
rules. We used
Well,
to,
it works with the new ones too now since I added 2 cards into it again.
yeah, but his is pure blue, so he has a way of making everything annoying that way too.
Ah.
So
I can
what
mill out your whole deck in one turn.
What I'm what I'm trying to do is make it so I can make your deck a mill deck over a scry deck.
Oh, yeah. Like,
And I know as much as you keep being stubborn and trying to keep it,
it ain't working.
with the way the mill deck that I'm making you works, you'll be able to pull out all those mill cards back out of your graveyard and
Yeah.
just go. And then just.
Yeah, just keep going, keep going.
And you only need 4 cards, but I could make it so you could do it with 8
Yeah.
and just constantly mill all in the same turn. And then your opponent's going to go, yeah, I'm done. Nope. Nope.
I used to have 60 cards here. Now I only have 4.
And they're in my hand. And I need to draw.
Which automatically means that they
You
lose.
lose.
So,
Yeah. So that's what I want to do with your deck.
yeah, but unfortunately I need more mimetic walls. So,
we're working on it. It'll
Yeah,
work.
we're working on it. We're
There's a
work-
way to make it work.
You got
Yeah.
that wizard in there? Okay.
Yeah,
What-
but Alan, we took a look at it with Alan, and Alan was trying to remove it, and I said no, he needs it. He's like, why? I'm like, because if he has 4 of them, he can keep doing what he's trying to do.
Well, yeah, it does the same thing as pneumatic walls, so why take it out?
It's just more expensive than pneumatic wall.
By like 1 mana.
it's one of those things where sometimes it's better
And
to
it can attack, so...
Yeah,
Yeah, good
it
point.
gives you a bonus attacker.
Yeah.
That, and instead of graveyard removal, what we should do is Elixir of Immortality. So it's just taking your graveyard, topping it, and shuffling it back into your deck.
If you do
Oh, yeah.
that, you need to make it more scry heavy so you can get to the ones you want.
We wouldn't have to do it, not with the way that his deck works. Most of his deck is cannon fodder and mill.
Yeah.
So it's running through his cards quite quickly.
Yeah, and I also
Oh,
noticed
so
that,
it's like my blue-black.
yeah.
Yep. It's more like yours than mine, but it has some elements of mine, it has some elements of yours, and then it has Alan trying to be funny, but it's not working.
Yeah. There's also like I noticed one. It was like Cryptic Insurgents. I read the thing and it said target player. So would it entirely possible if I have Cryptic Insurgent in there and then I just tap that, use it, tap all of their creatures into exile, and then I gain the life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, kind of good, kind of bad,
Now,
but unfortunately black.
Deck building is kind of complicated because you got to pick colors and everything else. Easy breakdown, pick a card, build a concept, and try and stay around it. Test and check, and if you're really not sure what you want to do, like we had a friend build a werewolf deck, you can do creature type, you can build around all of those concepts. The easiest thing to do is go talk to somebody. Go to your local card shop, talk to somebody who, like a judge, talk to some players. If you're in our area, go to Gnome, talk to us. Or figure out which school we go to and talk to us. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I won't tell you, but I'll tell you our local card shop is Gnome Games. You'll figure out where we live real quick.
Well, actually, there is one in Georgia, so.
There is one in Georgia. Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Hint, hint. We're not in Georgia.
But the main point is go talk to somebody. Find somebody knowledgeable, talk to them. It's the easiest way to learn. Mm-hmm. All right. And now we're going to go to different rules, fun rules, house rules. One house rule that we have, or what we call house rules, is
King's Hand, mana drop.
King's Hand, mana drop, mana screw. Don't forget our mana screw. That's a good one.
That is one.
Yeah,
that's
but
a
we
good
just
one.
call
That
our
is a
house
good
rules
one.
King's Hand mana drop. But yeah.
So, King's Hand means whenever you run out of cards, draw 7 more. Mana drop, drop all your mana. For your first turn only, if you have gates, you can have them come in untapped. Normally, gates or dual color come in tapped.
Yeah, any mana that says play this tapped doesn't come in tapped.
First turn only.
The ones that say you have to
And that's
return a mana to your hand as the part of the cost, you can just instantly put it right back onto the field.
Yeah. So that's first turn for both players too, not just the first person's turn, because giving first person that ability would be evil.
And OP.
Yeah. So then we have what we call mana screw. If you're just not getting any mana, you have a bunch of high drop cards.
Or you have dual color and you're struggling of getting the second color.
Take a dice. Now, we normally use a D4. It's the triangle dice. We have a bunch of D&D dice, and you roll it, and it's that many turns. If you have a 6-side,
Half it? Or-
yeah,
You
half
can
it.
choose. You can change how you want to, and you can do like a 10 side and choose half that too, and have 5 turns or
Yeah.
whatever.
Rounding down, of course.
Whatever you use it. Figure out how you're gonna do it. We just normally use a D4, and this makes the game run so much faster. It's really good for testing a deck, but then to test the speed of a deck, you need to take it to regular.
Yeah, to see how well it actually works. It's a good way to go. Okay, your plans are working the way you want them to,
Plans,
but then to
combos,
actually
and everything
see
else.
if it actually works the way it should in an actual tournament, you need to actually use the real rules.
Okay, and then another set of rules is our version of Two-Headed Giant. It's a two-headed version, same rules, except field affects both sides, and we can use each other's mana.
Yeah.
In a regular 2-person tournament, you don't get any of that.
Yeah, your field is your field. You just happen to be working with somebody else to win.
Then there's 8 or 10 people pod battle. So there's 2 different ways of doing it. Free for all, everybody against everybody, except you can't attack somebody who's just been attacked.
Because that's just a dick move.
And you can play this. Our rules are regular. Most times we play our rules because 8 people is ridiculous. Or you can do what's called star pods. The people next to you are your allies. You don't want them to die, and they can defend for you. That's it. You're on your own fields. And then you're attacking the people across from you. If you kill the people across from you, you win the game. So it makes a star. You have the 2 people here, you're the point, and then you...
Yeah.
So, that's another way of playing. That's a lot of fun. We've done that a couple of times, me and John. And it was really funny watching the people that we played get frustrated.
It makes you think on how you want to do it, because like you said, the people next to you are your allies, but after a while, you're no longer allies because you have to eliminate everyone to win.
No, you don't have to eliminate everyone. the two people next to you are still up, you win the game. And then there's everyone versus God.
That's the one I really want to try.
This is a game type I've been wanting to try because you get 5 people. The minimum is 5. The maximum is however many people that you have that play Magic in your area. And everyone plays one deck. It's 40 life for everyone except God. God, you do 40 times the amount of people. So 40 times 4.
200.
That's how much life God starts with.
No balls.
And they play 4 decks at once.
What?
Or they play as many decks as there are people.
Yeah, I think we should try that. Get the 3 people we usually play with and try it.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, we would have a very interesting game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's something that I've been wanting to try ever since I read about it. Because I had people trying to get me on another Magic podcast, a video one, where they wanted us to play a bunch of game styles and home rules and things like that. I even brought up our home rules, and the dude wants to play our home rules. Like, it's just that interesting to people to see us play.
And you can make your own home rules. You just need to test them out. Like ours, it started off with you can lay mana down on anybody's turn. So then me building a deck that has...
Hold on. That ended quick because John...
Yep. I
is
built a
troll.
deck that has 50 islands in
that
it.
Pure Blue Mill deck. Pure Blue Mill deck. Guess what that started as? His Troll Mill deck for the original rules.
Yep, it has 50 land, and the rest there's 2 mill, 2 creatures, and 2 cards that let me get back into my graveyard, and 2 more that let me go into take my whole library and put it on my hand.
So literally, he was taking his deck and going.
So my second turn. So if I was playing first, or even second, my second turn, you milled out your whole deck. But before you even got 1 creature down, you had no deck.
He literally picked up a hand, dropped said hand, picked up a hand, dropped said hand, picked up a hand, dropped said hand, and he would keep doing that
Until I get stuck with one of those cards, but then those
and
cards
then on his
benefit
next
me.
turn, pick up a hand, drop said hand. And he would do it over and over and over again. And finally, it wasn't because of him that I said these rules aren't right.
I just didn't help.
Because of how we were exploiting the rules, I'm like, because I originally made this with Zach.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to change these rules. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, the ability to drop mana on any turn is way too overpowered.
And you start building your decks based off of that, so you'd wind up with not 50, but you'd wind up closer to like 30, 34 mana and big creatures, and then you go find someone who doesn't want to play.
Not me and John. Not me and John. Everybody else, though.
Yeah, and like I'll admit, I had some decks that were a little on the crazy side because of those rules. And the one blue one, obviously, took it to the extent. But... So then you meet someone who doesn't know the house rules, doesn't even want to play the house rules, doesn't want to try, and you only brought this one deck. Now you're screwed because it has absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't we make it so it's more like the real rules? Yeah. You can drop your mana on your turn. And Zach's like, why would we do that? I'm like, the ability to do that would make it so you have to strategize more. It affects the way people would play.
Yeah.
So I adjusted that, and then I did the gates thing on first turn only. Because Zach played, oh, don't worry about tapping the gates. I'm like, no. First turn only. Then you have to tap from here on out.
Yeah, because...
Because first turn only with gates, I had at least 3 mana in every hand that I played. And then I was set. Set for the game. Yep. And of course, you can play all these games with our house rules added into it if you want. Don't have to.
Yeah, you can always try and figure out new house rules.
Oh yeah, done some insane things. We've tried experimenting.
We played one where all mana was on the field to begin with, so all the only thing in the deck still. So we're running like the 30 card deck, and it just contains the creatures, the spells. And
Oh,
Wait, no, okay. Your story first, then mine.
Okay, so Danny was doing this thing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you flip your whole deck over, and then you kind of, it's like memory and card games together. So you flip it over, and then you try and play a creature, a spell, whatever, and you got to call it. If you call it, you get to play it, right? So I'm like, why don't we do that with Magic? He looks at me, I'm like, you call it, if it's mana, it stays over. If it's a creature and you can play it, you tap the mana and play it. We played it that way. So you put your whole deck face down, and then you just start calling. And then you start playing that way. You keep your 20 health, and then you run it, right?
Okay.
It was so much fun. I did it with my original rat deck, and I won. Danny's sitting there trying to do it with his burn deck, and it just didn't work. His wannabe vampire deck.
I hate how
Haste deck.
he's got like 6 vampires in it, and he calls it a vampire deck.
No.
Every single creature in there has got haste, but it's a vampire deck.
If anybody has a vampire deck, this guy right here. I
Okay.
have an actual vampire deck.
Okay, so I was at a Magic tournament that was at UW, a place
So it was at UWGB.
that we are totally going to edit out, by the way.
Why?
So it's at UWGB, and I'm not editing it out.
Okay,
Verbal
fair.
cue for myself.
Okay, so I was at that place, and there was a thing called like judge running or something like that, where it was basically like you have a bunch of crap, like really crazy cards. Like I'm talking like crazy ones. Like there was like a subterranean worm that like brought on another creature. And here's the thing: infinite life, infinite mana, infinite cost. You could play any card except if you broke a judge rule, you were automatically out.
Huh.
So it was mostly played for judges, like to make sure like it was still running properly. So it was like anytime you played a green card, you got 2 mana. So every time someone laid a green card, you had to say I get two life to it. So that way it's like you keep in. But as soon as you forget about that, you're out.
That'd be fun, but I already have a variation. The judge switches. You have a rotating judge,
Oh, jeez.
and then the judge can add rules in. So it's like Simon Says with Magic.
That's weird.
You can no longer play artifacts. So for that whole turn, you can't play artifact.
Oh, jeez.
Or you can no longer play rats, and then you can go back and forth and switch the rules when you become a judge.
Oh, jeez.
That would be interesting, but I think it'd get too chaotic.
Yeah, but I think
Especially when you get biased people or whatever.
That's why you only do it with 2 or 3 people that we know. Keep that one small.
yeah. But I also think like you can't use X mana, or you can't use more than 5 mana out of this turn, or something like that.
Yeah, things like that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but
And what would be really fun is if we did it blind decks.
oh
So we had
god.
the-
You have
Other-
no idea what the deck
Yeah.
is at all. That'd be
You
cool.
have the
Oh,
other
God.
person pick your deck.
No. What about like prepackaged decks?
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, because-
pre-builts.
Yeah, the pre-built ones. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Oh, one more thing, because I know we're about to close.
Yeah,
So I went to go get a fat pack
naturally.
of the new set.
Naturally.
They don't make fat pats for Gnome anymore.
What?
They don't make fat pats for Gnome anymore.
What?
They
Gnome
sold
sells out of them like that every single time they come in
No. Gnome only got one batch,
because of how
and
that.
Hasbro won't make any more for them.
For why?
For why?
Yeah, for,
Because it's full border mana. That whole pack, $20.
huh?
Then on top of the $500 card that happens to be in there. Now you can order them online from Walmart.
For
$70 a box.
wow.
Plus shipping and handling.
What? Wow.
Yeah, you can't even get them in the store. They made it online only. because they were getting too many swarms in the store.
Oh yeah, I bet.
You get that $500 card, you buy more cards, you get another $500 card, and you're making profit.
Yeah.
You need 6 boxes to be guaranteed, but you've already figured it out. I could go buy 36 packs
Wow.
because there's only 6 packs in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 36. So start saving. All right.
All right,
Wrap it.
that was another episode of Golden Table Games. Thanks for coming by.
Peace.
Peace.
That was Golden Table Games with your hosts, Nathan.
And John.
We hope you come back next week and listen in for more.
Peace.